Gamers and viewers, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about an indie game that has been on Xbox Live and has finally hit the PC scene. It's Dusty Elysian Tale. The first thing I'm going to say is that I had the honor of the developer stopping by my stream and lurking around, and I would like to say thanks for that. I was always thinking this game was influenced by Muramasa Demon Blade, but you know, I asked him the question. He was actually influenced by Castlevania and Cat Ash, so that's one thing I wanted to get out of the way. Now, the game itself was really tough to tackle any cons or flaws at all. I mean, there's a couple things here and there, but the game was very enjoyable, very fun. That was the most important thing, and it wowed me, like, pretty much the fact that it was done by one person. And I'll begin telling you about this game, starting with the story. The main story of the game starts off with the main character waking up in a forest with no recollection of who he is, what he's doing there, and as he stumbles along further, he is met with a Nimbat named Fidget and a sword called Aura, who has a personality of its own. And what happens from there is the three ventures out into a quest at the nearest village. The village sends them off to another village under attack by a being called Fuse. What happens from there pretty much drives Dust's curiosity to further try to rediscover who he is and what exactly is going on. The story does a great job of starting off really slow, just a bit, but as it builds up on the plot, it gets more suspenseful, it gets darker, so don't let that E rating fool you, because this story can get pretty deep later on. The graphic and the art of the game, as you notice, is pretty much all hand-drawn. The 2D art mixed with a bit of 3D I've seen in there. The characters are drawn to resemble animals, so pretty much rabbits, cats, mole people, reptiles, you name it, it's pretty much in the game, which is really cool. Minotaurs, I've seen some of those too. There's definitely a lot of details you have to, notice in this game, especially with the characters when they're talking to each other, and you'll see them pop on the screen. It's really nice animated portraits. You'll notice, they're holding on to their babies, or they got, something they're doing, they're fidgeting, maybe they have, their eyes are blinking. I mean, it shows a lot of emotion, so it's very memorable, especially when you pay attention to these little details and the art. The other thing I want to talk about is that Dust is really animated in this game. The fact that your main character is fluid, very nice looking, very well animated, looks really cool. The backdrops are beautiful in this game. The amount of detail that went into this game and dedication is just amazing. You'll be looking at, forests, mountains, snow, volcanoes, underground. Whatever you're looking at, you'll notice there's a background, and then there's patches of grass. Say for the forest, you step on the grass, butterfly flies out, you look at the animals crawling around, the sky, the trees waving. I mean, it's just very detailed. Even stepping on the snow and jumping around the snow, you'll notice like the footprints left in it. You also got to notice the rain and the snow effects. They're all in the game too. Really well done there. So like I said, it's just something to notice in the game. If you notice those kind of details, it really brings the game to life, especially in this sort of game. Next, I'm going to talk about the sound and the music of the game. The music is done by Hyperduck Soundworks and Alexander Brandon. The music is fantastic for a lot of these levels. Some of them are my favorite ones. I went ahead and bought the original soundtrack. You can too. It's definitely available out there. You can Google it up and purchase it and support. The voice acting for this game is really quite well done. The characters have a different accent from where they are or who they are, and this pretty much shows that the voice actor put a lot of effort into who they're playing as, and this gives you a memorable impression of the characters. It gives them a lot of personality, so it's really well done in that part. Sometimes I notice, if I listen really well on my speakers, I notice the sound going up and down for a lot of voice actors. It's a small problem, not too big of a deal, and like I said before, great job on the voice acting, well done. The control scheme of the game is pretty much you can play with an Xbox controller or a keyboard and mouse. Keyboard and mouse is fine, but I prefer the Xbox controller. The reason is because mostly for platformers, and also I found the vibration very helpful for this game. Basically what happened is there's a move called the Dust Storm, and if you use it too much, it's going to backfire and hurt you. So the thing is, the vibration lets you know, it gets stronger when you're near your limit, so it helps me keep my timing with the combos with that. So that's why I prefer the Xbox controller over the keyboard and mouse. The gameplay of the game is pretty much a action platforming hack and slash adventure game. You can jump, you can crouch, you can slash with a button, you can use fidget and cast spells, and you can also dodge left and right. The key attack to this game would have to be the move called Dust Storm. It's pretty much a sword twirling technique that twirls items towards you. You can twirl in midair, you can home in on your enemies, you can chain combos, etc. And if you're near areas where there's cool secret to reach and you need to get to the secret and there's enemies around, you can actually home in on enemies and pretty much get up there, hint hint. Also with the combination of fidget spells, it twirls a spell around, hitting all your enemies, homes in on them. It's really cool and really fun to use. The other spells and moves of the game are later on unlocked as you play the game further on, which adds more, variety to the game. Pretty much the thing about the Dust Storm is that it hurts your character if you don't pay attention to how long you hold it, and what happens is that you take a certain amount of damage also. Another thing is that the Dust Storm uses energy just like the dodging, so basically you have to keep an eye on that. You have to melee your enemies and do combos, otherwise it's going to drain down quick and you're going to be in trouble. There isn't a lot of combos to do in this game except for mostly mid-air chaining, so mostly for the future games it'll be nice to see more combos. And don't forget, one of the most important moves in this game would have to be also parry, where you hold the slash button down, and what happens is when the enemy make contacts with you and you parry them, they're going to be left in the open. You can counterattack from there. Now, most of the things you're going to be killing in this game is going to be enemies that you'll face will be monsters, mostly monsters and humanoids of all shapes and sizes. You got orcs, imps, minotaurs, giant trolls, which requires parry. You got magus, casting magic and spawning enemies. You got, dead things. You got things with claws, you name it. It'll, disappear on you when you try to hit them, and then pretty much they'll try to parry you too. So it's really well done on the enemy on this part. They'll try to beat you down. It gets really intense when the enemy really tries to mob you in this game. It's really fun. Pretty much when you kill these enemies, you're earning XP. When you're doing combos, you're earning XP. And from all these XP, you're going to level up. You're going to be able to put your points into certain 4 stats. From those 4 stats, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get better. And also along to aid you is going to be items. The thing about killing monsters is that you'll get crafting materials. With crafting materials, you can sell it, vendor it off, buy new items, buy some food to heal yourself. And pretty much you can also use it to craft items to help you and aid you on your adventures by using blueprints, which adds variety to the game, especially since you can choose your own, equipment to put on and what stats you want to buff up. Another final way to level up in this game is to actually do the side stories. There's the main missions, and then there's plenty of side stories in the game, lots of secrets to find, which makes it really great. If you manage to do the side stories, you'll earn rewards for it. If you do the challenges, you'll earn items for it. And pretty much by finding secrets, it's going to buff you and help you out. So definitely explore as much as possible and play as much as possible. If you play the game and rush it through, it might take you about a good 8 to 10 hours to actually do it and blitz it, unless you're doing some kind of speed run. Other than that, if you play the game on hard mode, if you're looking for all the treasures, all the secrets, it's going to take you more than at least 10 to 15 hours because, like I said, you're going to backtrack, you're going to do everything. It's really fun, and once you do that, you'll feel really satisfied. And some of the cool things about the quest is that there are choices in the game that can affect a certain character outcome, so that makes it pretty cool that they added that in the game. Pretty much the replayability of the game is there is no multiplayer for the game, and it would be amazing in the future if there's multiplayer capabilities added. Adds a lot of content and replayability factor to the game, but already the game itself has a lot of secrets and content that you have to discover, treasures, you name it, to collect them. So some only con about that is that once you beat it, you're done with it, you're probably never going to play it again. As for my final verdict about the game, like I said before, there was only a few cons, such as the sound recording was low at some point. I overlooked that, and the fact that there isn't a lot of replayability. The boss also in this game is ridiculously easy. The first boss, it's a shame he looked really cool, but he was really easy to beat. I beat him in a few hits, even a hardcore difficulty. The other bosses are scaled pretty well. The last boss, very nice, so the only problem I had with that was definitely the bosses. The last con is pretty much the player's fault kind of con. If you sort of get that, mood where you want to be a badass and do a lot of combos and cast a lot of spells, which is what I do a lot of in mid-air combos, what's going to happen is you don't see where your character is and you're going to get hit and you can pretty much die from that. Anyways guys, the game is only $15 on Steam. You can get it on the link on the bottom of my page. pretty much the game is worth every penny and possibly more, because the fact that, you know, a lot of work was put into this game to port over to the PC. I'm glad that it wasn't just like some lame port. A lot of work was put into this game. There's even colorblind mode, there's portrait, high quality portraits, 1080, you name it. The game is revamped up for the PC. It lives up to the expectations. You can tell the developer passion for putting a lot of effort into this game to bring us this version. So definitely support him, you know, get his game, try it out. Even if you don't like it, you probably enjoy it, you'll never know. But all I have to say is, you know, remember, make your own opinions about video games, enjoy it yourself, play it yourself. Don't just sit there and watch it, and have a great day, and remember, game on.